Would you believe me if I told you that I almost married a man that was not sent by God? Yeah, because did you know that you being in the wrong relationship can derail your destiny? Y'all, I was love bombed, I was deceived, and I was disobedient to God, all because I wanted what I wanted. Now, when we first met, everything felt perfect. He said the right things, he did the right things, and he even made me feel as though he was the husband that I was praying for all along. Now, this is what got me. He knew how to talk about God, he had a youth group, he knew how to present himself as a man of character, and in my heart, I really wanted to believe that this was real and that he was real. From the very beginning, he was very extravagant in the words that he said and in the actions that he displayed. Because something that he was really good at from the very beginning was he was giving me constant reassurance, he was good at giving me attention, and he was really good at giving me the things that I needed, that at that time I felt was genuine. He kept making it seem like we were destined to be together, and it really felt like a fairy tale. But for those of us that know, fairy tales are not real. I ignored the signs because I so badly wanted for it to be real. I thought maybe he just needed time to grow. But then that Holy Spirit kept nudging me and letting me know that this was never sent by God. During my engagement, when I was deep in this serious courtship, I was prophesied to, and what I was told completely caught me off guard. The prophet told me, do the last thing that God told you to do, and then you'll meet your husband. I remember sitting there stunned, confused, and even a little bit offended because in my mind, I really thought that the man that I was with was going to be the man that I was supposed to marry. But deep down, I knew what that meant. God was telling me this man wasn't it. Instead of me immediately obeying, I wrestled with it. And I tried to rationalize that maybe God was saying that we needed to take some time apart to work on ourselves and then to come back together. But no, that wasn't it. Now, you would have thought that that was going to be me going up to the man and telling him that we needed to go our separate ways. No, I ignored the warning and stayed. And because of that, I endured unnecessary confusion, emotional turmoil, and spiritual stagnation. I see now that being with the wrong person won't just break your heart, but it will delay your destiny. It took me a while, but eventually, maybe about a month and a half later, I was able to have the conversation with him and let him know that this was not going to work and that we needed to go our separate ways, because this is obviously not what God ordained for neither one of us. Now, walking away isn't easy, but it was definitely necessary because something that I was so dead set on was that I wanted to be back in alignment with God, that I wanted to be obedient to what God had last told me, and I wanted to let go of somebody else's husband because that's what it was. He was not mine, but he was somebody else's, and I had to be able to release him, and I had to surrender my plan so that God can restore his plan in my life. Because something I always tell y'all is that counterfeit relationships always look good at first. Because the enemy isn't going to tempt you with somebody or something obviously bad. He's going to package it as everything you think that you want. A man can say, and not only just a man, but a man or woman can say that they love God. But if their actions don't align, he's just or she's just playing a role. Being disobedient to God's instructions will always lead you into unnecessary pain. If I had listened to what the prophet had told me 2.5 years ago, I could have avoided so much pain, so much heartache, and so much headache. I would not wish that pain on anyone, because stepping outside of the will of God, you will have to stay outside of the will of God to maintain that thing, that person, that place, whatever it is. You have to stay outside of his will to continue to keep it. And I heard somebody say that on TikTok, but that is so very true, that literally when you are not careful, you can put yourself in odds and at odds with God, because he said he will give us over to our idols. I know I mentioned that in one of my previous videos, but it is so very true. And so that is the reason why I wrote the book, is because I had recognized that there was no books about how to navigate counterfeit relationships. Now, everybody's definition of counterfeits is different. However, for me, as a woman that considers myself to be a Bible believer, considers myself to be a woman after God's own heart, that considers myself to be a woman that is possessing and continuing to work on producing the fruits of the Spirit, I felt like it was imperative for us to heighten our discernment, to recognize the red flags, and to not settle for less or settle for anything that God did not send us. So that's why I wrote Redefining Single, Whole, and Unique, Navigating Counterfeit Relationships to Embrace Authentic Singleness. So I appreciate y'all so much, and thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you know anyone that needs to hear this, then please send it to them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.